Hey, people. Azazel never takes a good picture. Was the personification of uncleanliness, which in later rabbinic writings was sometimes described as a fallen angel. And so this personification of uncleanliness was at one time an angel. So that tells me this is probably exaggerated. You know, he's got Neptune's spear, the dragon's tail, and horns, and goat ears, and man body and claws, a goat with a serpent, and he's toting this old flag, old red rash on a frog's belly in a yellow banner. And so Azazel, you know, that's the Hebrew word similar to hell in English. But it was also the ritual of sending a goat into the wilderness as atonement for the sins of the people. Hence the term scapegoat. You know, the seer Lazazel, you know, a goat for Azazel. But, you know, that's better. Of La is of or to, you know, of Azazel, not for. And it talks about him a lot in most here in Leviticus 16. It comes up as Azazel, you know, the goat, the seer of Azazel. So this 4 times in Leviticus 16 it comes up. The last time it explains what it's talking about. And it's this tack that's put in front of this word next to it. So it's no longer the seer of Azazel, but it's to the river. It reads backwards. To the rivers a sower. You know, like a connoisseur is who comes to eat. To the riverosaur is where your word dinosaur. The riverosaur is the crocodile. And it's to the crocodile that loses of. And it was here in 17 I was reading that caused me to look back at that chapter and see what was going on. You know, there's sacrifices to demons. And this demons, you know, is the lesser is. You see that same word in there. It only comes up one time like this. But they say it means hairy, a he-goat, buck, sacrificial animal, satire. May refer to demon-possessed goat, like the sign of Gadra. So that had me look up the demon-possessed goat, which brought me over here to Azazel. And so I learned a bunch of stuff that's going to blow your mind. I'm going to have to make a folder of these here. But this chapter was actually telling you just how to go about selling your soul to the devil, selling your soul to Azazel. And I had to look back, you know, to make sure which one it was at that other chapter. And so I read the whole chapter about 3 times. And it was talking about, you know, sell your soul to Azazel and then go back and read it again. And so in the instructions, you know, besides the blood on the altar and on the door of the tabernacle, the door of the tabernacle is the pupatella. It's where your word hotel come from. It's a tent it's talking about. It's a mobile home, a pupatella, a hotel you take with you. And it says to feather of the each love of the rich niche. You know, the sweet aroma, to burn the sweet aroma. And about that time, I spotted my stash that I've been looking for a week. And then, like it said, I come back to the beginning to start reading again. And I open my mouth, and this comes straight from the devil. In Rashit bear in R, from Yell to this'em is what hears. In Rashit bear in, little line right here in the middle of the R, the foot, as you read it backwards when you get there, B-R-B, bear in, A-R-A, in bear in R. In a Rashit bear in R from Yell is the baby. In the beginning was a baby. In the Rashit bear in R from Yell to this'em is. This is the one what hears. So when the baby cries, you know, it's usually the mother. This'em is what hears. But if you look a little closer at that, it's from Yell, and the A-E is E-S. So it's reading T-E-S for the A-E. And then 2 more S's here. S-E-S-E-M. a tessum is what hears. And so a tess is, every word that comes with a tesses in it is a feminine. It's a prophetesses, a priestesses, countesses. It's all women, a hostesses. And this represents the woman, the tessis. In Rashit, Baron, R from Yell, a tesses miss what hears. So all these words liable to come from misunderstanding. So if we go closer in, Tess is the harvest, to reap. The harvester is Tess. The harvester is Saturn. And so the Tess's miss was ops, or appease, make her happy. But for ops, appease, earlier was Saturn's association with Lua. And Lua was a goddess to whom soldiers sacrificed captured weapons, sometimes referred to as Lua Mater. And so Lua is he, she, or it. Its mother, his mother, her mother, its mother. Lua Mater, or Lua Saturni. Of later, which makes her second consort of Saturn. It may be that Lua was merely an alternative name for appease. Appease the mother. Happy wife, happy life. This explains why this oldest tree has some differences from all the others. You can see that the 3 is the Saturn, and here the 3 is the Saturn is Bina, which is 2 over here, which is the dragon's head, Bina, Luth. And so they've confused Saturn. They've confused everything about it. The number, the meaning. And we can see in this one here, it has the most information on it. That the Chakma, meaning the wisdom in the Hebrew is Sophie, so Ophi, the S on the other end, appease, is the tail of the dragon. In the Rashit Baron are from yellow. So this is also a river sawyer, the frog. A sawyer is an uprooted tree floating in a river but held fast at one end. It goes up and down in the water. The sawyer goes up and down. Also a person who saws timber, up and down, the sawyer. And so that's what crocodiles do when you're in the boat. Anytime you get close to them, alligators, they go down. Same as frogs, they'll pop their eyes up like an alligator. When you get close, they go down. It's turtles too. All that the water, the amphibians do that. Where it's they teat who of who which seek. Where it's, the same as the earth. It starts with a vav now, W-E-A-R. Where it is. Where it is they teat, the titty who of who which seek. And then this seek kind of blends with the rest of this, which cycle, and then it reads backwards due to this tack, and it stops and turns around due to this foot down here. So it's cycling. I-N-I is ing, I-N-G, which cycling. And then the other side, pen, P-N, to write down. Put whose, where which, Mael, from rich, put all in place them is. And so the teats, the T-E, that's the moon, is the teat. Where it's they teat, to of who, which cycle in pen, which cycle in right, put to who is, where which from yell, from the word. In the beginning was the word. Where which from yell, from rich put. When it's the richest, put all in place them is. And so, which psych, and this is where your word calendar come from, to call, the calling, and then the pen to write in to put whose. And so it was her that created the calendars, the lunar calendar, where her cycles were matching up with the cycles of the tide. And then on the first day, it's who homer, who yammer, who command from yell. Age they make the gyro, how they row where. Who command from yell, and the AJ, the age, and then you hit the mark here, so it's EY. They make, they you gyro. They make the gyro. The gyro is the turn, and also the hieroglyphics. The age make they gyro. And still the baby command in here. Make they gyro how they row where. Their age. Make their age the gyro how they row where. And make their age of the hyro how they row where. And then where Ramiel. How Ramiel. Where the first knowledge from Yel, the remedial. And so Ramiel was a fallen angel. It means to make the first knowledge, the remedial. To make the first knowledge from Yella is where. Where from Yel. And it's the sign the sun's sitting in. Where from Yel at, and then arose. From Yel at ARU, and then the AE is ES, a ruse. What a ruse of our AVR. What a ruse of her to give in with of wife did. The dot DD did. Then back the other way. Enjeweled, JULD, enjeweled of. Enjeweled Lamiel. Been the hour of in each shack. Ben is in its bin, to put it in its place, to bend the hour of in each shack. So it used to be 12, double hours, bend the hour. Who formula, the two of them together, and the formula, and then back the other way, Amelia, AMIELA, the god of work, Amelia, are 5, are QIV, FIV, are 5 lower juice. You got the sun and the moon, and then you got 5 lower juice planets. 2 lusts for the lily. How they in roaring, how they rough in 4. In the morning looking rough. So how they roughin' for. They're roughaging for. They're looking for some light. How they roughin' forges. Da. Da is Jupiter. Ancient Indian script letter Da. Looks like Jupiter. Da. ABCD. Da. The 4th. Looks like Jupiter on its side. Looks like a 4 on its side here. Da. And so baby's first word was Da. Jupiter. The 4. The Da. So it's still a baby, and that's his first words, Da. In the rash and barren, the baby with the rash on his butt. And the rash at barren are from yell to this'em what hears. This is the one what hears, where it's they teat to of who which seek. All in nipping, all in a pen, the put to is, but the put tos, the double hours, the put tos, where which from yell, from rich, put all in place. It's a rich spot, where the tides are the highest, at the new moon and the full moon, where the tides are the highest from the rich, put all in place the miss. And yammer from yell, age they make the gyro, the age that makes the gyro, it spins. And that'll be the first knowledge, is figure time. You want to know what age it was. How they row where. In the row they go in. Hu Ramiel, the thunder of God, the voice of God, first knowledge from the Ramiel et arose of her giving with of the wife did in jeweled Lamiel. Lamiel is the zodiac. Lama and Lamisu, hybrids with bodies of either winged bulls, lions, heads of human males, represented as double aspect figures. And they represent the zodiacs. Where from Yel or who Ramiel. Ramiel was the baby hollering in the beginning. In Rash it bear in Ramiel, the one hollering the baby. Where from Yelit, A, the A is going with this T. The A words read backwards from Yel at Aura, A-R-U. And the Aura is E-S. A-E is E-S. At the Aura is at the lights of her give in with of. The lights of her give in with of. Backwards and forwards, in with of. Wife, who indeed in jeweled, J-U-L-D, the jeweled. And so you ignore all the points when you're reading backwards, and so the point in the D, it just means it's one D. Who in did of jeweled, who in did in, who in did of, DDV did of jeweled, J-U-L-D, Lamiel. Been the hour of in each shack, the time been the hour of in each shack. The 12 double hours. Who forum Yel Amelia R5. A forum is a place of meeting or medium where ideas and views on a particular issue can be exchanged. Coming from the Latin forum, which is outdoors, outside. Who for, who's ahead of them, who for 'em, who's in front of them, Yel. Amelia, A-M-I-E-L-A, Amelia, the ancient god of work. To give you food, I'll give you a meal if you work for it. Amelia R5, Q-I-V. You have the sun and the moon, and then you have the 5 of lesser juice. And that's why these are the 5 days of Amelia, the 5 days of work. And then you have Sunday and Monday off. Who formula Amelia R5 of lower, L-A-U-R, lower, L-A-W-R, the lower juice, J-U-S, the 5 of lower juice. Will husk for a lily, how they in roaring, how they rough in forges, how the rough shaping of da, the first word. So the rabbis aren't fond of this Azazel, and it's because it's like Jesus. It's like the Alcoholics Anonymous, their 12 steps, and make a list of all the persons that you had harmed. And what it is, if an alcoholic still has this hovering over his head, they go back to drinking, they go back to drugs. And so they tell him it's all going to be okay. All you have to do is go apologize for what you did, and you can drop that stain from your heart. You drop that sin. Azazel was the scapegoat, and you attached all your problems on there, and you sent it off into the desert, and it no longer was your problem, and you were relieved of that. And so the people that were holding over the people that you owed money to, they weren't fond of this ritual of the Zazel. They didn't want you. They wanted you to feel the guilt of your sins. They wanted you to pay up. They didn't want to hear I'm sorry. They wanted their money back. So Azazel is the representation of Jesus. All you have to do is ask forgiveness, and He will pure your heart, and you don't have that on your heart anymore. You can forget about that and get off the drugs. And so it's good if you want to get your countrymen off of drugs and get them to do better, but the ones that they owed aren't real fond of this. You know, we father each love of rich niche alive. There's two H's in the niche of rich niche HLIEVE alive. All right, I'm gonna cut this off here. Good day.